E aí rapaziada, tudo bem? Aqui é o Bernardo pra mais um vídeo pra vocês, né? Tava com saudade de mim? Tava com saudade de mim? Espero que não, né? Porque, pô, 3 vídeos por dia, até eu tô cansado de mim mesmo, né, rapaziada? Enfim, The Doomed Fantastic for Movie do canal Super Frame, tá, rapaziada? Já reagimos a vários vídeos desse canal, né? Muito top. E bora direto pro vídeo, né? Esse vídeo, pelo que eu entendi, vai tratar do Quarteto Fantástico de 1994. Bora pro vídeo. Super Frame.
I, for one, love Marvel's first family, a superhero family that are explorers first, heroes second. They're a team that push upon new frontiers, not just in their adventures, but within their personal lives too, exploring themes of familiar bonds and their interpersonal flaws. It's an approach that was groundbreaking, that made them icons, that separated them from every other hero of the time. It's something that we still see them doing in the comics today. Seeing Johnny explore responsibility, Reed trying to fix the world, Ben dealing with his identity, and Sue trying to hold the team together. It just works. I think it's refreshing that we're leaning into this with Marvel's latest reimagining of these characters. It had me thinking for a moment that this is the closest we've ever come to doing the Fantastic Four right. They even got Herbie, Ben looks great, and shit, Galactus isn't a cloud. Would you look at that? However, it did make me...
Mano, isso é louco, velho. O Senhor Fantástico, isso é louco, o cara tá gigante. Tá pega.
Think of another, a take on the Fantastic Four.
Ah, não era não. Porque, mano, olha essa cara de banana, velho.
However, it did make me think
agora eu tô
of another,
dane-se.
a take on the Fantastic Four that was lost to time. A take on the Fantastic Four that...
Mano, será que esse... Nossa, velho. Esse pack devia trazer pra Secret War, tipo, uma aparição rápida desse Quarteto Fantástico aí. Pô, vai trazer todo mundo. Traz, rapaziada. Traz. A minha tia, no Halloween de 10 anos atrás, se vestiu de Mulher Invisível do Quarteto Fantástico. Traz ela também. Traz todo mundo.
is arguably more accurate than what we'll be getting in July. And yet, it was murdered before it could ever see the light of day. The year is 1992. Roger Corman, known for his low-budget movies, was handed the rights to Marvel's first family through Bernd Eichinger's production company, New Constantine Films. The movie was made, the actors were cast, the footage was shot, and the final edit was completed. Yet somehow, despite being finished in every sense of the word, the film was quietly shelved. And here's where the mystery deepens. No marketing, no premieres, no wide release. The movie, once completed, was simply locked away. How could a film so close to release...
Mano, esse filme é muito bizarro. Foi criado só pra proteger direito autoral, velho. Tipo, nem pra lançar na bilheteria ser um flop. Não, eles criaram pra manter os direitos autorais.
just vanish? Was it a matter of creative failure or something much murkier? What did the producers know, and why didn't they want anyone to see it? For years, the Fantastic Four was nothing more than a whisper, a legend spoken about in comic book circles but never confirmed. Stories of its existence were passed around like urban legend, until one day it manifested as a bootleg copy. To this day, this remains the only way you can actually watch the cancelled film. No good print of it has ever actually been released. The highest quality material you can find is that of a trailer that was shown to Comic-Con goers and then subsequently snuffed out. But the question remains, why wasn't it released? The film was complete, ready for audiences, but the true reason it was kept out of theatres reveals a much more calculated and sinister political manoeuvring by a very specific set of individuals. In short, they had other plans. Keep in mind this was a film that was actively erased from history. But why? Well, to answer that, we must explore the people responsible. There are a few key figures that stand out in this whole ordeal. We have the cast, of course, the film's director, Ollie Sassone. Above him is Roger Corman, the film's producer. Above him is producer, financier, and head of Constantine Films, Bernd Eichinger, who we'll touch on soon. And lastly, we have executive producer Javier.
O pesadelo de todo fã de herói e adaptações para cinema. Tem um nome que começa com A.
Alright.
Ia fazer uma piada com outra pessoa que começa com A. Só que eu acho que o YouTube não ia gostar muito. Então, vamos falar que é um pintor que começa com A, o nome dele.
Now, if that last name is familiar, you'll already begin to understand why this movie never launched. How this movie, made with passion, heart, and soul by the cast and crew, was used as a chess piece within these men's ambition. Avi Arad is often disliked by fans for prioritizing profits over creativity. He's known for altering projects to boost toy sales, overloading movies with characters. We saw that with Venom in Spider-Man 3, cancelling or changing shows that don't sell enough merchandise. We saw this with this Spider-Man animated series, toning down violence to attract a wider audience. We saw this with Venom and Venom 2, and inserting scenes to set up a larger universe. This is what happened with the Amazing Spider-Man films. And shit, that's just what he's done to Spider-Man. What's to note is that Avi's career began in the toy industry, which led to a close relationship with Fox, namely his involvement with the X-Men animated series.
Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Gambit, Rogue, Sabretooth, Magneto.
Name them, join them, collect them.
This Fox
Eu tô até vontade de comprar um agora, com essa propaganda é boa.
relationship we'll come back to. Before Marvel Studios, film rights to Marvel characters were scattered across various studios.
Que é esse... Como é que tá tampando aqui pra vocês? Que é esse cara aqui, esse preto? Oxi. Tá bom então, né? Blade da New Line, Lionsgate com o Punisher, Miranha com a Sony. Mano, o namoro da Universal, velho. A Universal nunca usou isso. Por quê?
Sony had Spider-Man, Fox had X-Men, and so forth. If a studio didn't produce a movie within a certain time frame, the rights would revert back to Marvel. This looming deadline led to the rush production of the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and a similar situation occurred with the Fantastic Four. Eichinger, who held onto the Fantastic Four rights at Constantine, had to do something, and so he handed the property to Roger Corman, known for his shoestring budget movies, insisting that he needed a Fantastic Four movie pronto. But here's where things take a darker turn. Despite the movie being made, despite it being complete, shot, edited, and ready for release, Fantastic Four was never intended to see the light of day. This wasn't a mere oversight, no, this was a deliberate and calculated move to keep it buried, to lock it away and pretend it never happened. The powers that be, led by Bernd Eichinger and Avi Arad, didn't want this film out because it didn't fit their vision of the future. The movie's existence was inconvenient. It was a chess piece that they didn't need. Why? Because they had bigger plans that didn't include the low-budget Corman version of the Fantastic Four. The film was made with limited resources and no expectation of blockbuster success. It was produced merely to maintain Constantine Films' hold over the rights to the characters, but Eichinger and Arad had already set their sights on something bigger, something that would make them far more money. And that something was the Fantastic Four franchise, reimagined and launched under their terms with a slicker, higher budget approach. Avi, using his connections working with Fox, brokered a deal for his buddy and got burnt the big budget Fantastic Four movie that he was after. Originally they were hoping for Chris Columbus to direct, but eventually it landed in the hands of Tim Story. Once this low-budget version of the Fantastic Four was finished, it became clear. Releasing it would only jeopardize their bigger, more commercially driven plans. A release could mean damaging the Fantastic Four brand, particularly if it bombed. Which, if we're honest, likely would, given the shoestring budget and the film's campy, quite dated style. They couldn't afford to let it tarnish the reputation of the Fantastic Four and potentially hinder their bigger, more polished vision. So, they buried it, and they didn't quietly just shelve it, they erased it.
We're sneaking around in Roger's storage room in Venice, looking for the cans of that film with a flashlight, you know, like criminals. We were going in there and we were going to risk criminal prosecution for taking that print. But lo and behold, the film was already gone.
There was no official release, no acknowledgement that the Fantastic Four had ever existed on screen before their much later big-budget reboot. The movie became a ghost, a whispered legend that somehow slipped through the cracks of history. Its existence all but denied, and in doing so, Eichinger and Arad effectively erased an entire chapter of the Fantastic Four history to preserve their future profits and control over the property. But you see, there's more to it. This is the point that I really want to stress. I don't want any confusion about this. It isn't that Arad and Eichinger saw the quality of the movie and decided to shelve it. It's that the Fantastic Four was made with the sole intention to shelve it. It's why they tapped low-budget director and producer Roger Corman. It's why the casting process was so quick, why they never had a table read, and once the movie was done, why they never had a screening, never got to promote it officially. From the get-go, this movie was a pawn in a larger chess match, a way for Eichinger to broker a better deal for a larger scale production, a deal helped by Avi Arad who got him in the door with Fox, seeing as how closely he worked with them on the X-Men animated series. But what about the cast, the crew, the people who believed in this project? Well, nothing. They got nothing. No compensation for their efforts, their time, work and labor. $1 million went into the production of this movie, and Corman received a check of $1 million to shelve it. Now, did Corman then divvy out that money to those who made it, starred in it? Well, no. This isn't a hopeful story of small creatives beating big business. This, sadly, is the reality of the business. A story where the higher-ups took fat paychecks to shelve the movie to make more money later on. And just like that, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, a film that was never meant to be seen, became part of superhero lore. Not because it was perfect, but because of the strange, inexplicable of superhero lore.
Mano, tem muito Senhor Fantástico, velho, olha isso. Pedro Pascal, John Krasinski, o, sei lá, esse fracassado da vida, o outro aí que eu chamo de original, e o sei lá, o Teste Tudo. Mano, que loucura.
Not because it was perfect, but because of the strange, inexplicable reason that it was kept hidden. Ironically, in its obscurity, it became iconic. A film that didn't just disappear, it was actively erased from history. Today, Corman's Fantastic Four has a strange legacy. It may have not have reached the big screen, but the movie serves as a reminder of the strange and often murky world of superhero licensing.
Ah, tá, beleza, então. O cara preto aqui era o Senhor Fantástico. É porque achei mais estranho, né? Quem que era este cara?
Where stories can be buried not by failure, but by
Nossa,
the red
Betty
tape of
Girl.
corporate interests. A film that was never meant to be, but ironically, one that somehow will never be forgotten.
I'm Roger Corman, and I, together with Bert Eichinger, were the executive producers of the original Fantastic Four.
Alright, and that's the video. I really appreciate you guys watching this one. I had a lot of fun doing the research and just like really looking into this topic, all the key players and the figures. Hopefully you guys really dug the video too. With that being said, these videos do not happen without my Illuminati Patreon members. I'm extremely thankful that you guys support the channel. That's Alexis, RJ, Ben,
Tá,
Brad,
aqui acho que não tem mais conteúdo, né, rapaziada? Então tá bom, né? Então tá bom. Rapaziada, esse foi o vídeo de hoje. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Dá like, se inscreve. Eu sei que é chato, mas eu peço do mesmo jeito, tá, rapaziada? O vídeo que eu reagi e o meu canal secundário, os dois tem um link na descrição, tá? Outra coisa, aqui está um vídeo que o YouTube acha que você vai gostar e aqui está a pelota do meu canal. Clica nela pra você ver o que acontece. Valeu, falou, fui, tchau, tchau e até a próxima.